Your father, as you mentioned, was the head coach at the high school you played at. What do you think you most learned from him?
You know, the thing is with my dad, he may tell other people, boy, I'm proud of that boy. I never heard that. I know he was proud of me, but it was almost like this fear of being soft, you know, from his standpoint, or from you know, he had to be tough all the time. And even when I'd made it, you know, but that was okay because, you know, regardless of how I played in any game, I mean, there were some times after a game I was like, you know, I played pretty good. You know, I may not tell people that, but I felt that way.
Right.
But even in those times, I'd be thinking, you know, I mean, a good job would be good to hear right now, you know, like, or you played well. Mm-hmm. But, boy, you know, it wasn't bad, but you can play a little bit better than that. Or what happened on that one play? I'd be like, it might be 70 good plays and there was one bad one. And he would bring that to light. I think part of growing up, part of being a parent is learning from your mistakes, learning from what your parents say, or as a parent, learning from past mistakes that maybe your parents made or said. Or I mean, it was tough love. I mean, and he was a coach first with me, and I would say to him at times, like when I was playing high school football for him, I'd say, "Dad, I think we ought to throw it some." "Well, I think you ought to let me run the damn team, and you do what I say." And I'm like, you know, kind of the gee, thanks. You know, I wouldn't say that, but I'm like, if you want your son to get a scholarship, now I wouldn't say that to him, but I'm thinking to myself, surely he wants me to get a scholarship. He's got to throw the ball. But long story short, it worked out, and we didn't throw the ball, and that makes him look like.
Well, right.
Rodney.
Except it did almost prevent you from getting a scholarship because you did have this strong arm and
but he
nobody
didn't look
could
at
see
it
it until.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
You know, to him almost was 100% guaranteed.
You think he was tougher on you?
Oh, absolutely. And Scott, my older brother, and Jeff, my younger brother, would probably say the same thing. For whatever reason, only he could answer that.
You were out on a golf course and you know, didn't have your cell phone with you. Your wife calls the teammate that you're with, and he turns to you and tells you the tragic news that your father had passed away, had a heart attack. You have Monday Night Football the next day that you're supposed to be playing in, and are left with the decision of whether to play in the game or fly home to Mississippi. Why do you decide to play?
It was easy. It was a tough choice, but it was an easy choice, if that makes any sense. Up to that point, any conversations with my dad always involved football. As far back as I could remember, and as I look back at even today, if I saw a picture of me as a child before, you know, I could remember, and I just see a picture, it has to do with football or baseball. Not working on the truck, not sawing down trees, not you know, going to a business meeting. You know, it was football or baseball, and that's what we did. That's who we were. That's what we talked about. And when I say that that's what he would have wanted me to do, that's the truth. And all the teammates, it was such an amazing moment in such a tragic circumstance to see how the guys rallied around me. And I really, at that point, really understood what a team and a family really was about. Now the tough part was, I knew I needed to play, I knew I wanted to play, but I didn't want to play and play bad. I felt like playing bad was not honoring my dad. Playing at a high level was. But, you know, I could have never have imagined to play the way I did. I was so fearful that I would just lay an egg, understandably so. I was more fearful of that, more so than that I would have played the way I did.
And that's apparently the only game you've ever been really scared for.
You know, the pressure that I felt to play the best I've ever played right after my dad died was, I can't even relate to you how that felt. And because of that, I don't think there's a whole lot of good that comes out of like a scared type of nervousness. I think there is a fine line there. And I thought I was on the I'm going to screw up side more than I was on it's okay to be a little nervous and anxious and excited, but I fell more on the I'm going to lay an egg, and that's never a good approach.
You had 399 yards, 4 touchdowns, one of the finest performances of your career. How much did that mean to you?
Oh my goodness. It was better. What I had envisioned, or how I had envisioned playing, which obviously was good. I had envisioned playing well. It was not, so I far exceeded what I had hoped how I would play. You know, I mean, there were some of the best throws. As I think back to that game, there were a couple throws that would rank as maybe some of my best ever.
Really?
But there were also some that had no chance of being caught by our guys, but yet they were. And so it was just one of those nights.